Pituitary. We're going to talk about these 9 keys. We're just going to tie these together. Why is the pituitary so important? Well, you know what? Your pituitary's got to secrete a lot of different hormones. Most importantly, it's got to secrete growth hormone. Now, interestingly, if you have sleep apnea, growth hormone goes down, you get hypothalamic stress, you produce more cortisol. Now, why would people with apnea have more risk for heart disease? Well, they crank up their oxidative stress and cardiovascular stress because they have more TNF-alpha, more cortisol, more interleukin-6, more inflammatory cytokines being released. So that's one of the factors that can influence the pituitary. What else can influence the pituitary? Stress. Just absolutely, stress has a tremendous impact directly on the hypothalamic pituitary axis. So, as you get under stress, your brain literally is just collecting these hormones and neurotransmitters during the day. This excitatory soup is going on, but you can't requit them at night. You can't turn it off. And so now I'm forced with, I can't get to sleep at night because I'm thinking too much, or I wake up in the middle of the night even though I get to sleep quick. And if that's the situation, that means I'm going to fall in that category of sleeping 5 hours or less at night, which means metabolically, I'm on an uphill road right off the bat just due to stress. So the HPA axis and hyperarousal of the HPA axis is incredibly important for getting people to get their chemistry back in line. Apnea decreases growth hormone. We know that, and increases TNF-alpha. Obesity decreases human growth hormone. Cortisol, of course, stopping release of growth hormone. Environmental toxins also influencing the pituitary. Amino acid disturbances can influence the pituitary. If I don't have enough amino acids, and I got to tell you, people will come into our center, we do a blood on them right away and look at their amino acids. Most of them, their amino acid pools are terrible. They have got no building blocks to build any of the hormones and neurotransmitters they're supposed to be releasing to make things happen. And you know what we're doing instead? We're micromanaging them with pharmacology. Here, you need this drug in order to feel a little better, and this is going to help your mood, and this one's going to make your anxiety less, and this is going to help your appetite go down. But you know what? You just have to look at the statistics. Where we falter in looking at all this data is we don't assess the initial value that person has in their body before we put them on a drug. So if they're metabolically challenged before they go into a study, how do we really know whether the drug's going to work to its full potential or not? If we want to talk about the pro side of drug therapy, right? If people were metabolically challenged to start, you're not giving them a chance. So, thyroid metabolism. So we've got the hypothalamus and the pituitary. It gets shut down. I'm not releasing growth hormone. Now I'm not regenerating my tissues. My brain's not at rest. I can't get my insulin to work. So I'm 15 years old, and I got the growth hormone release of a 50-year-old. And I'll ask you, honestly, this is something that hit me unbelievable. I'm starting to look at kids in their teens, and they're looking a lot older now. There's a lot of reasons for that. Lots of hormones everywhere, right? But you can look at people in their 30s, and they're aging so quick. I'm seeing it more and more in practice. So what happens when your thyroid goes down? When your thyroid goes down, your metabolism absolutely starts to crash. So as your thyroid metabolism starts to get altered, either by pituitary signaling problems, or in a minute we'll go through other issues, my metabolism's going down. Your thyroid hormone makes mitochondria in your cells. So the number of mitochondria, the number of powerhouses in your cells are determined by thyroid hormone. Thyroid hormone creates ATP. I make energy with it. And thyroid hormone increases oxygen. So if anybody with low thyroid, you go into docs, you could say, hey, doc, how many people you got with low thyroid? The doc goes, oh, my God, almost everybody in here has got low thyroid, especially if they believe in subclinical hypothyroid, so that there's people that are below the radar that got thyroid problems. Well, if that's the case, then they're not burning oxygen right, doc. They're not burning oxygen the way they should, and that means there's more oxidative stress, more free radicals. Bing, I need more antioxidants. So anybody that's on thyroid medication, by default, because of their lack of ability to drive oxygen and burn it correctly, are at oxidative stress risk. Other things that happen, this whole thing of subclinical hypothyroid. I mean, I can't tell you, it's continual, right? It's, yep, my hands and feet are cold, my nails are brittle, my hair's lackluster, I'm depressed, I'm constipated, I've got a hoarse throat, in fact, I cough a lot, my skin is dry, my mood is shallow, my energy's gone, and, oh, my TSH is normal. It's 3.5. And really, when you look at a lot of research, what a lot of functional medicine docs are doing is they're driving TSH down pretty low because they're not getting the activity of thyroid hormones at these so-called normal TSHs. So basically, people walk around and you go, yep, I got all those symptoms. Your doc says you got to have a low thyroid. Take blood from you. Nope, it's not there yet. Next year. Nope, not there yet. You're almost there. Now we got to give you drugs. 5 years, now we got to give you medication because you know what? You fall over that line where clinical medicine intervenes. Remember what I said, you don't become low thyroid overnight. You're walking towards it, just like you're walking towards any condition that your body has got going on within it. Serum levels of T3 and T4 are normal, usually low normal. Largely undiagnosed, untreated by blood tests, can stem from a lot of things. But the big one is, probably the biggest thing I see with thyroid is, once again, it's stress. And we'll kind of go through that real quick so that you get it, because getting people's thyroid to function is incredibly important for them. So, I'm under stress. My adrenal glands respond. I pump out cortisol. And as I pump out cortisol, I start to alter my TSH signaling. So typically, my TSH gets influenced. More importantly, is cortisol blocks the conversion of T4 to T3. And you make more of this stuff called reverse T3, which basically acts like T3, but it doesn't do anything when it hits your body's receptors. So your metabolism doesn't function. So, well, what can you do about that? There's a lot of different things you can take, but one of the things that we do, because we also look for autoimmune thyroiditis right away, I find that a lot of folks don't check for that. They don't look for thyroid peroxidase or look for antibodies to find out if someone has got an autoimmune situation going on with their thyroid. So they just start giving glands and giving desiccated thyroid, and that's not the answer. See, we got to figure out how to calm that hot immune system down. But there are things you can do, things like 7-keto-DHEA, right? 7-keto-DHEA actually causes an increase in the conversion of T4 to T3. 100 milligrams twice a day will really help get that T4 to move to T3. Now, why is that important? T3 is what's metabolically active, 4 times more metabolically active than T4 is. So when your metabolism drops 40%, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out that you're in trouble. You're going to be in trouble. Now, here's the thing. Even if you've got thyroid hormones in your blood, it doesn't mean that it's working on target sites. So you could get blockade of thyroid hormone receptor sites by things like heavy metals. So even if their blood levels are good, if they've got intoxication from the environment, it could be influencing the way that their body's able to handle these hormones.